is the Conservative Colonel Podcast with Harrison Dawes, where one man stands against the rising tide of liberalism. This officer in the battle to preserve our nation is the Conservative Colonel.
Nothing ends here. Our hopes and our journeys continue.
And here's Harrison Dawes.
Welcome back to the Conservative Colonel Podcast. I'm your host for the evening, Harrison Dawes, and I'm joined by Graves Baker. We're going to be bringing you some action-packed news today. We are just about filled to the brim with some good news and some good talking points today. But before we get started, I do want to say my apologies for not having an episode out last Tuesday. For those who don't know, I had a kind of a personal emergency I won't go into that happened. So I didn't have time to film. And to be honest, I didn't really want to last week. I had a lot on my mind and a lot of stuff that I had to take care of because it was the right thing to do and my duty to help out my family. So I didn't get to film one last week. So that does cut into the episodes that we were going to have before I take my Christmas break. So the Conservative Colonel was going to have another episode and then a filmed episode, which would have been the DeSantis-Newsom debate, since that doesn't cover any active news. It just covers a debate. Me and Graves could film that, after we film this one, and it's not going to age between now and next Tuesday, or now and 2 Tuesdays from now. But I have decided to kind of let this one be the last news we cover until the new year. I don't know what Tuesday I'll be back. Probably, let's see here. Probably the 9th. We'll come back on January the 9th and film an episode or that Monday and cover the news. Unless something just earth-shattering news-wise happens, I'm going to take a Christmas break, enjoy time with my family, as you all should, and remember the reason for the season. But enough of that. Let's get into the news, because we have some Mississippi political news and some national news we want to talk about. The first one being something that, piqued my interest. And we could do a whole episode on this, and so we're going to have to wait on it. But, Elon Musk telling Walt Disney's CEO a certain 4-letter word that we're not going to say on the show, just in case y'all are watching with kids in your vehicle or at home. But it's not pretty. So for those who don't know, Elon Musk has had a self-declared war on media for a couple years now. It all started with something happening over at Twitter. Now he owns Twitter. He is challenging the establishment news media, I guess, if that makes sense.
And
And
the left organizations like Disney has definitely become.
yeah, for sure. I mean, we're seeing something that would be unprecedented if me or you did it. But
Yeah.
Elon having the resources that he has, I mean, he bought one of the people in this quote unquote war he was fighting, Twitter. He bought them plain right up simple. And now he owns Twitter. I don't know if I'll ever get used to calling it X. I'm sorry, Elon.
I don't think I can either.
It's been just way too long of calling it Twitter. That would be like Facebook renaming itself to W. I'm not going to call it W. But in all seriousness, it looks like just a major victory because I mean, me and you talked about it again. We'll do a whole show talking about this because it's kind of what we're trying to do here on the show. You've noticed in the past couple years since 2020's election, and I truly think from 2018 to 2020 was the baby stages, and from 2020 to now, we're seeing it truly explode. And that is untraditional news media.
Yeah. Tucker Carlson is killing it by himself.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson, I'll get out eventually, is killing it with making his own news, his own videos, and he's reporting on the news, what he wants to report on. And he's also reporting on, just breaking news, stuff that the traditional media would either twist or turn.
Yeah.
Are used to their advantage. He's painting it black and white for the American people. And so is Steven Crowder, Ben Shapiro, everybody at the Daily Wire, and everybody that works on Louder with Crowder, all these news media giants that we've known for
they're falling off.
Yeah, decades or some even centuries.
New York Post has been there since the 1700s.
Yeah. That's the one I was trying to remember. I couldn't remember its name. But yeah, like centuries. They've been around reporting news for the American people since there was a government. And it's sad to say that we can't trust them anymore.
No.
And I'm not saying you should ever trust someone that reports on the news. Even me. Research. Am I telling you the truth? That's what you should be doing. Now, in this relationship of reporter and person listening, person consuming my product, there is a trust that I'm telling you the truth and that I'm reporting on it as best I can. And now, if you have a bit of bias, reporting on that first. Like, for example, the conservative colonel. I don't think you have to guess which side of the fence post I'm going to be on political issues. The same with Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, and all the other big conservative news networks, like the Right Side Radio, Jack over there, the right side. I don't think he's trying to confuse you.
Right.
But I don't like people who are saying they're unbiased and then being biased. I'm admitting that I believe that conservative values are the best values for America, and that if you listen to my reporting of the news, yes, I'm going to have a conservative slant. That's okay. I'm not trying to report on all the news and give you an unbiased opinion. My opinion is my opinion. But I think Elon, what he has done is successfully, I wouldn't say he kicked it off. I think there are people who have been fighting that, are starting, as I said, 2018 to 2020, like the early stages of the Daily Wire, Louder with Crowder, stuff like that. But when Elon really took them on, it kind of became a wake-up call to everybody that, hey, these new forms of media that report on the news, they have a chance to win.
Yeah.
And some of them have larger crowds and audiences than our traditional news networks, like Fox, like CNN.
I know Fox really messed up. Like when they took Tucker off, they were the most watched. He was the most watched, but their overall Fox was the most watched. And now Tucker's on his own, and I think you could probably compare or combine every single one of these news organizations, and he still gets more views posting on Twitter than they do anywhere.
I would love for when me and you come back to this topic to get statistics ready of Tucker, of Crowder, because I know Tucker and Crowder and the Daily Wire now. The Daily Wire now is the most sub to political conservative news outlet out of them all, and that blows my mind.
They used to be kind of small.
Yeah, they used to be kind of a very small operation. Now they've turned into a very big one. And I'll give credit with credit is due. They knocked Steven Crowder, who I enjoy listening to him.
Mm-hmm.
They knocked him off the top. He was kind of the top guy in that world.
Right.
I don't think now we have to guess it's Tucker, but
yeah,
I think Tucker has somewhat of an unfair advantage. He's Tucker Carlson. I don't think any of us are going to question that, but I would like to come back to this topic later with statistics and show y'all just how much untraditional news media has challenged our traditional news media and how we're telling the truth. We're telling you the real stuff and how big it has gotten. I mean, again, these people are dwarfing the audiences that CNN and Fox are bringing in.
Yeah.
They're big and they're multi-million, if not sometimes billion-dollar companies. And here they are outdrawing them. But that's going to be a topic saved for another day because I feel like me and Graves could both spend a whole episode talking about it. Again, that's what we're trying to do here. That's definitely my goal. Hope Graves will help me into that goal.
I got a big year coming up, so I will be joining as much as I can, but I'm headed to Amarillo, Texas on January the 9th.
So that means let's see here. When did I say we were coming back? January 8th.
You said 9th, but I'm not sure if that's I don't know if that's a Monday or a Tuesday. I haven't looked at the calendar.
That's the Tuesday. We can film on that Monday if you want to come on for that. But
yeah.
But great. We're about to be getting into an election season, so Graves will probably not be on this upcoming year as much. But when he does get on, I have some interesting topics that I'm going to force upon him because I know what he's doing this upcoming year.
Yeah.
So hopefully you'll enjoy that. I'll have to tell you after the show. Don't want to reveal too much of my cards, but
right.
Yeah. I do think new media like what we're doing here at the Conservative Colonel podcast is stepping up, and I hope we can be a part of that, at least for the state of Mississippi and national politics. Just trying to get out the truth and report on the news. But changing topics to the Mississippi politics, the Mississippi House of Representatives we've said there's no confirmation until we start back up in January, where I've noticed you're leaving me on the busiest part of the political news reporting. I want to thank you for that. That just hit me. Thanks. But he's set to be the next Speaker of the House, and that is, let's see here if I can pull him back up here on my notes. Jason White. He is the representative from District 48 here in the great state of Mississippi, and he's set to be the next Speaker of the House. An oddly safe bet, so to speak, from the Republicans here in Mississippi, I would say, because, again, you would think in a supermajority state where obviously the state is a lot more conservative than even the government wants, they would put up forth a true hard dog conservative. We're not in New York where I'm trying to think of a state that has, I'll mess with Texas for a second. I love Texas to death. I love visiting Texas, but they have a lot of Democrats there because people are moving. We're not Texas where we have to deal with there's a lot of Democrats now because they're moving from California. No one's coming from California into Mississippi. I hate to break y'all's bubble. That's why I like it here. People won't come here. I don't want you here.
I don't either.
But they're split. They have a reason to have someone that might not rock the boat too much, but still champion conservative values. I can understand a political play if the other side is willing to compromise. Compromise can happen. Now, do I want us to compromise all the time? No,
No.
because I believe that's the problem with the Republican Party is that we're the only ones compromising. And I'm like, no. If we're going to play the
Democrats
compromise
push
card,
whatever they want through.
yeah, but we lose a lot more than we want. But yeah, we don't have any Democrats here in Mississippi, really. We don't have a strong representation of them because this state is mostly conservative. So why we think such a safe bet with Jason White is unbeknownst to me. And like I glanced at his resume before starting. I mean, I'm going to say I will leave the jury out until his first year as Speaker of the House is done. I will leave my major critiques until then. But right now, he's not wowing my socks off. He's not a I'm trying to think of a guy to compare him to, but he's not like a Chris McDaniel. He's not going to champion conservative rights. He's going to vote for you if you got the votes.
That's what we noticed looking through his record of voting. There's some good things in there, like that we'll get into, allowing school teachers or anybody in the school administration to conceal carry. Of course, they have to get training to do that.
Oh yeah,
but that's a great thing.
Phenomenal. I'm studying to be a school teacher and believe in protecting these kids that you're already giving me the right and privilege to help mold their minds and teach them correct things and teach them right from wrong, because students spend a lot of time with their teachers. Now you're giving me the right to protect them just in case something out of this crazy world we have now, sadly, happens. I believe in teachers being able to prepare and protect students. Now, if a teacher doesn't want to, or if a teacher isn't capable, that's a different meaning. But we already said it. Training has to go into this. Probably a mental study of the person, I would say.
Yeah, I would be fine with that.
I would be fine with it. I don't think that's in the law. I think we're getting off into another topic like me and you normally do. But that's a great thing I'm trying to say. And then what else did he do? Do you remember?
I've got it right here. Let me just pull it up for you real quick. We have the one that I was thinking about, authorizing the restoring of voting rights military veterans who have felonies.
Yeah,
which is kind of on the opposite of what we were just talking about, which was a good thing. And we don't really, they have a felony.
They have a felony. And I think if you're going to put something into place for our veterans, that our veterans deserve a lot more than what we give them in this country, people, let me tell you. And so if you're going to put that system in place, again, I haven't read the whole bill. We're reading summaries right now. We're just trying to get everything ready for tonight's show. But if you're going to do that, it really needs to be done by a case-on-case basis. Like if they went through there and just shot someone, okay, maybe not. Maybe they should be treated like every other American that goes out, shoots someone, gets a felony, they can't vote. But if he's suffering from PTSD, or we have failed him as a government, as a community of people rallying around him, and he does something stupid, that's different. And if no one got hurt, also plays a big thing, and it depends on the criminal act. But just doing it for all of them, I can't agree with. And he also... Let's see here. Oh, of course, if you have anything you want to share on the topic, go ahead.
It's kind of just the same as you, case-by-case basis, because not everyone is the same. Like, there's violent felonies, there's non-violent felonies. Something like defrauding the United States government, I believe, is just as bad, in my opinion, as if you were to just go and kill someone, get a felony that way. So there's so many different things that that this person could have done to get a felony, and you can't just group it all together like, oh, he's got a felony, he's a terrible person and all that. You got to look at it just one by one.
And I'm okay with us even paying someone to do that, to go through the cases. The veterans deserve a second chance. If anybody does, it's the veterans that serve this country in the most highest of honor. I hate to tell you people, your politicians aren't serving their country normally.
No.
And they're definitely not putting their life on the line for this country. Some of them
being bought and paid for.
Yeah, they're being bought and paid for. Some of them will sacrifice, their comfortability, getting attacked or stuff like that, like we've witnessed with President Trump getting just prosecuted, but nothing on this level of scale. Our veterans deserve our respect and deserve a second chance if they come home and we have failed them in some shape, way, or form. But if they've committed a just heinous act, that's where I'm going to have to draw the line. And, I come from a family that has had a lot of people that serve. So I grew up respecting those people. That's how I was taught to. But I can't just allow a felon to vote that might have hurt something. But moving on real quick, we're going to kind of try to wrap it up. He did vote on amending the Mississippi election code and added protections for fraudulent voters.
Yeah.
But me and Graves talked about this before the show. All the stuff he's done, he's voted on it. He hasn't put forth, to my knowledge, from what I've read, he hasn't really got involved really into the process. He's kind of just been a background player. It confuses me how he's gotten the votes to be Speaker of the House. It doesn't look like he's a leader per se. It looks like someone has came to him and asked him to run, and that scares me more than someone seeking power, because that's someone that's going to be controlled, I think.
Yeah.
But again, he could prove us wrong.
I hope he does.
I really hope he does. But let's listen to this, because again, there's 17 pages I could read about this guy's political career right now. And if you had the time before casting a vote, or you should do this before a vote, yes, read all 17 pages. And as the years come on, we will try to help you guys do that. If he gets elected to Speaker of the House, I'm probably going to spend an episode on him and actually talking about his record. But right now, kind of at first glances, I'm not impressed. He is rated, let's see here, 57% by the American Conservative Union. That's through all his political positions and his whole 11 years in office, I think. That's not good. That's saying 50-50. You might get a conservative, you might not.
Right.
I don't like that statistic. And then I will say the NRA did vote him 92, but that's for the position he holds now as a House of the Representative member. That's this last term cycle, I think, is what that means. On there. So, I mean, not giving us much to work on. Again, he looks like he's going to be a moderate, down the middle type of guy.
And that's what worries me, is not only is he not passed anything himself, written bills that have gotten passed that we can find, but also the fact that he is rated lifetime 57%. And we need someone that's actually going to push through, like you said, real conservative, not just values, but policy. And, like you said, maybe he will prove us wrong. But as of right now, he does kind of seem more like a Joe Manchin for the Democrats.
Yes. And that's what I'm scared of. Because, I mean, I'll be honest. I usually say stuff on this show that will probably come back to haunt me at some shape, way, or form. But he doesn't have big shoes to fill. I like our.
I didn't even really know who the last Speaker of the House was. That's how little they've done.
Yeah, that's so shocking that they don't. The Speaker of the House should be up telling everybody, okay, this is what we've done. This is blah 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 blah. That's the second, third biggest position in the state of Mississippi. I would say
Yeah, either
probably
third or
third. Now that I
fourth.
think about it. Yeah, third or fourth. You have the lieutenant governor, the most powerful position, the governor, of course.
He
Then you
should be
have,
right behind
yeah,
the
yeah.
lieutenant governor.
I mean, we should be hearing from him more. And the fact of the matter is, the previous guy just all he did was like to vote against our constitutional rights. But we can get into that into another day. Whenever I hear that he's running for another office, I'll bring that up.
Yeah.
But not just knocking my socks off here. So we're going to keep an eye on him, hope for the best. That's really all
Honestly.
we can do. Now we have a topic here that me and Graves have been looking forward to, an opportunity to bash RINOS, and it's so fun.
It is my favorite thing.
So, like, I'm going to read the whole quote, and we're going to kind of give our opinions on it. But Donald Trump Jr., former President Trump's son, said, summary, I'll say first, Republicans have allowed Democrats to steamroll them. And going more into the quote, and I'm getting this from Newsmax. That's my source on this. And for the Speaker of the House, what I used was justfacts.votesmart.org. Make sure I got all my sources out there. But Republicans have allowed Democrats to steamroll them at every occasion and have been weak in their probe into Hunter Biden's business dealings, Donald Trump said last Thursday during an appearance on Newsmax. Hunter Biden on Tuesday offered to testify publicly before Congress, striking a definite note in a response to, well, all the crap that's been said about him on the Republican Party, setting up potential high-stakes face-off between a separate special counsel probe unfolds and his father, President Joe Biden, campaigns for re-election. I forgot, for some reason, I forgot that the Hunter Biden stuff is coming around perfectly.
Yeah.
They buried it during the 2020 election. I don't think they're going to be able to bury it now, but that's a whole other campaign. But
I don't think they can. And like, let's be honest, the guy, he had a daughter with a woman that I believe for a while was a I don't really know how I can put this and not sound bad. She was a sex worker. Had a daughter with her, did not want to, he didn't pay child support. He didn't acknowledge the kid. But now all of a sudden, after he went to court for it in Arkansas a couple months ago, now him and Joe Biden are like, yeah, that's our granddaughter. We want her in our life. And you've seen the videos of Hunter Biden with all the, all the drugs and other things that I can't say. He's not a good person, and there's definitely money laundering, but the whole Hunter Biden thing, I'm sure we'll touch on that before the election anyway.
I was about to say, I'll spend like 3 episodes on Joe Biden at this point because I keep adding stuff to my list to talk about.
Right.
I mean, I love, the Right Side Radio before the elections, they talked about Tate, and I like self-criticism. As conservatives, I don't think we criticize ourselves enough because look at the state of our party. I was like, before the election, I'll dive in. We can do an episode on Trump, what he needs to do better, what he's done greatly. And then I was like, and then Joe. And then I made a list, and the list gets longer almost every single day. I'm like, this is going to be like a mini series in itself, diving into Joe Biden's horrendous political career.
Yeah, we definitely could take at least 3 episodes on that. There's just so much there over 50-something years. But with what Donald Trump Jr. is saying is so true, and we kind of touched on it in the last episode, the organization of the Democratic Party compared to ours, they are whipping us in every single facet. And they don't even have, I would argue, Trump says too much and he says dumb things, too many attacks, in my opinion. But he's so much of a better candidate than Joe Biden is, and we can't catch any ground.
Mm-mm. And it's because we shoot ourselves in the foot. I mean, even when we have a good candidate, they're like, well, that person's not in our group, that he's not part of our table. And so
Yeah.
they try to push him away. I mean, I think we've all been pretty clear on who the Republican Party wants to win the next election. It's not
Mhm.
Trump. It's not even DeSantis.
I was about to say, yeah,
I can't even remember her name, but
Miss old Nikki Haley.
that's it, Nikki. That's who the in group wants to take the position.
Yeah.
Now, I've said it before privately. I don't think I've said it on the show because some people have different opinions. I do not mind a female president, just like I didn't care when Obama became the first African American president. Okay, what is he going to do for the job?
Yeah.
I care about performance rather than your gender or your race. I don't care. I hate the tagline that we're just all old white men that are sexist and racist here in the Republican Party. It's such an
It's really
stereotype.
They say it so much that it almost doesn't have a real meaning to it anymore.
Exactly. We're pumping out great episode ideas tonight. But I mean, I don't care as long as you perform well. And I just think she would be Bush-like, if that makes sense.
She
I
would,
think,
especially on foreign policy. She's like, send the money, send the weapons. And she didn't even think about it. I mean, we're depleting our own military by doing that, but because she's so big on, I think she was the ambassador to Ukraine. Either that or to Israel, but I think it was Ukraine. And so she is huge on that, very big on that. Just spend money, send money, spend money, send money.
we don't have that send or spend. I hate to tell you people. We're in debt.
A lot of debt.
The goal would be not to be in debt. At this point, if we could just knock it down by a couple million, I would throw us a party.
Honestly. And why haven't we even tried that? That's another thing with the Republicans. Like, we're always ones like, we're going to do the fiscal responsibility side. But then we cave to the Democrats in Congress for a compromise. And they'll throw stuff in the bill that we'll never see. And, we spend a whole other topic here, $10 million on studying the sex habits of fish in the Gulf of Mexico. We spent $10 million in Pakistan on gender studies. You know what they'll do to you in Pakistan if you? I mean,
I didn't hear the fish one. You completely got me with the fish one. I hadn't heard that one. And when you hit me with that, and I was like,
it's one of my favorite ones that I've ever read.
That is a job for a university people. And if someone's like, yes, a university's probably doing the studies. Yes, I know that. But we're giving them the money too. No, tell the university to save up. I know how much I get charged for
tuition.
Tuition. They can afford it. We already pay for their buildings. We always are. Now we're helping them pay for student loans. We're paying for all the stuff for universities. They can cover their own research topics. They're doing okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what scientist out there was like, I need the government's help to do this.
Yeah. And that happened while the, going along with our topic of bashing RINOS, the Republicans were the majority in the House when that got passed. So maybe, like I was saying, they didn't read the bill.
Don't claim them.
I don't claim about almost half of the people we have in Congress.
If we went through a list, I bet we would only have like 20 people, and it's like
Honestly.
400 people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that's always shocked me. Someone's like, well, we've already just spent so much money. And I'm like, well, that doesn't mean keep spending. If you're only bringing in this much money and you need this much money, one of these has to either go higher or go lower. That's simple economics. I'm not a bright man when it comes to math and economics and outside of history. I'm not just a scientist here or a genius. I know if my income's down here and my expenses are up here, either this needs to get higher, my income, or my expenses needs to get lower. Even if we cut off a bit of money every year, pay back a bit, at least we're starting the process.
Yeah. And I would love to see if the Republicans, we had talked about this. I think Kevin McCarthy, who did nothing he said he was going to do, which, again, going back to the Republican Party not being able to organize enough to beat the Democrats, what will never happen. They talked about it. They'll never do it. Balancing the budget, putting an amendment into the Constitution that requires a balanced budget. They will never do it, though.
That would have to be passed by the people. I mean, we would have to force that upon them.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to have to do. We need more people in Congress that are going to fight for that. And I mean, you wouldn't think that would need to go said. No. That's the sad part. Like in the state of Mississippi, if we passed a budget that just blows us out of the water, bad into debt, I don't think anybody's going to be like, so should we give them more money or what? No, you have to balance your budget. I think everybody that owns something, gets some type of income, knows at some point you're going to have to balance your budget. You're asking all of us Americans to do it, but you're not going to do it. I hate that has to be passed, but I mean, that's one more thing to keep the government in check, so I'll take it. And
checks and balances, because the government's already so big anyway that I can't never been as big as it is. There's too much consolidated power between just a small group of people, where if you don't do exactly what they want, and some donors too, big money donors, they'll do the same thing, where, if I give you this money, you have to do what I say. And I think another thing that would help, this would help the Republicans tremendously. Take money out of politics in the way of corporations are not allowed to donate. People that work for a Fortune 500 or on Wall Street, the people that we know are going to be influencing the government the most, even outside of the money, with the people they know, just take out all that away and just regular people are given money, or they raise the money themselves by regular people only, or if they just have the money to spend it themselves.
Yeah. I would love that for a couple reasons. Of course, that takes the money out, because you weren't supposed to go into politics to be rich. The reason we pay politics is so many of them went into debt serving the country that when they got back home after years of service, they were like in the poorhouse. And that's why we pay politicians now. It's not because it's supposed to be a job. It's because here's some income to help you get by until you get out of office.
And they just raised theirs.
Get out of office. You weren't supposed to stay there. I get wanting to patriotic feeling, serving your state or your nation. I get that. I would love to, serve my state like that, or serve my nation like that. But at some point, it's time for me to leave. And there's other ways you can help if you truly want to help. Is the problem, I think. But that's another topic.
I feel like a lot of people now, one thing that would help, obviously, is if we got the younger generation of conservatives into office.
Amen.
I would absolutely love that. Like, I mean, I plan on running for state, either House or Senate, probably state House. But the guy that I just helped a little bit, not very much, when I was finishing up school, Josh Hawkins ran, and I'd say he's about 40. He grew up here in Batesville, lived here his entire life, except for when he went to Ole Miss, and has a business in Batesville. And he donates to the schools. He, does events around town. So we got a good person in office here who's not 80 years old. And I wish that the Republican Party would stop focusing on, we want a Bush candidate or someone that's 60, 70 years old and we already know. Just get the younger group in, and you'll see a lot more stuff being passed. You'll see more passion from them. But we're just behind the ball.
And there's a reason for that. You're supposed to have the generations meeting together, working together, but we only have one generation in there.
Yeah.
I mean, what are they
Honestly.
supposed to do? Honestly, we have 80, 90, and we talked about this a couple episodes ago, but we have 80, 90-year-olds in office. Now, the 91-year-old passed, but, it stands to reason we had a 90-year-old person in office not a year
Who
ago.
died in office? You should not be in office until you die.
Yes, that's a big one. Term
Of
limits.
old age, like unless you literally just something bad happened.
Yeah,
But,
you have to have just an underlying medical condition you had no idea about almost.
yeah.
But I mean, that's what irritates me. The Republican Party just stands by and watches. They let Democrats steamroll them while in session. I've never seen a side compromise when we're in power more than the Republicans. And then when the Republicans are in power, or the Democrats in power, they don't compromise with us.
They don't talk to us worth of.
they actually do what they're saying they're going to do. Now,
Yeah.
is it for the reasons they say they're going to do it? No. They're wanting to get more money in their pocket, because I hate to tell you, those politicians that the companies pay for during campaign season, they don't stop paying them after campaign season. Nancy Pelosi is a great example of that. She goes into the House being poorer than I will be as a school teacher. When she leaves, she's going to be a multi-millionaire. Meanwhile, I'm just a farmer. I'm scratching my head here.
She is so big into insider trading. Like, a lot of people don't want to admit that happens, but they know exactly what the bills they pass and the budget they pass are going to affect certain companies and certain industries. And so they're taking their money right out of these certain stocks, putting it into other stocks, and then not to mention all the money laundering they do. But insider trading, along with term limits and a balanced budget amendment, all of that right there would fix a lot. That would clean up house.
And once people, I'm not saying that we still wouldn't have corrupt politicians.
Right.
But a lot of people these days get into it not for serving their country. Heck, I would be okay with people getting in it for fame almost at this point. Get in it to be famous. I don't care. Just do something worthwhile. But a lot of them are getting in to be rich. And when you get into something to be rich, and an opportunity arises to make you richer, you're going to go for the point that makes you richer. And there's nothing wrong with competition. There's nothing wrong with a working man making a living and then making a killing. But there is wrong with something called corruption and greed. And when we start adding money to politics, it gets nasty. Again, that pay they get is supposed to help them while they're not working. But there's a reason that we don't pay them all year long, or at least in Mississippi we don't. I think there's an option for it now that I think about it, but that's beside the point. That's because you're supposed to be having another job when you are outside of politics. You are not supposed to be solely a politician. That is not how you're supposed to be making your money. Joe has been a politician for 50 years. He has a mansion.
I think 3.
3. Something's a bit shady.
Yeah.
Obama has a mansion. Then again, Obama at least wrote a book. At least he's bringing in money. Joe, I don't know what Joe did after his vice presidency, but all of a sudden he's got 3 mansions.
Yeah. And I mean, we have actual proof of them getting money from foreign businesses and then sending it to each other through these shell companies. That's like me saying I'm going to open an LLC. I'm not going to do any work, but I'm going to have this illegal money coming in through there, and they won't be able to track it. That's basically what they did.
Yeah, they're just so you know, leftist people, I have a couple LLCs. Of course, I'm joking. But
at least you don't have 23 of them.
I'm probably close to how many businesses my family runs, but we all run them. They're actually bringing in income. I don't think I could say that about the Democrats. but 23 of them. Wow, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's it. I got like 5, man. Golly, and it's a hard enough to keep him with him. But
Oh yeah.
it's crazy what they'll do. But I think I don't think we can ever bash the Republican Party enough. Just like I don't think we can bash the liberals enough. Your tears give me strength. But
Same.
we do have one more topic. So I would like to kind of jump into that. This is Graves' topic. He brought this to the table, so I'll kind of let him take it away. I don't know much about it, so I'm kind of just going to pop in with an opinion every now and then. So take it away.
Man, it's so hard to know where I want to start. I know there's a couple of things that I really want to touch on, but like our southern border is so bad. I know for a fact that under Trump we had the lowest immigration in 40, maybe 50 years. Of course, Biden comes back in office and immediately gets rid of Remain in Mexico. So now they're all allowed to stay here. Let's also talk about the fact that illegals coming through were put on planes in the middle of the night. They would fly them to Florida, to Tennessee. You know, they didn't send them to New York or California. They'd send them to Arizona right before the 2022 governor election there. Go figure. And it's all on taxpayer dollars because it's not a commercial airline that's got a scheduled flight that they're putting them on. So they're using our money, meanwhile not sending money to Texas because they don't like Governor Greg Abbott. And it's worse there than it is in Arizona. After Katie Hobbs won her election in Arizona, after denying Texas money for months, he goes and sends $10 million to Arizona, Joe Biden does, to help out their liberal governor take care of the problem. So that's when Greg Abbott started sending illegal migrants to New York and to Martha's Vineyard and Massachusetts and all these liberal states, which I thought was a great idea.
More states should do it. Wonderful.
That was a great job. And they're actually fighting Governor Abbott right now in the courts because he put up this little makeshift, barbed wire and some of these buoys going across the Rio Grande so that they can't cross the river. And then if they somehow do, then they've got all this barbed wire there keeping them out. He's fighting Texas in court over that because he wants them to come in. They want illegal immigration because they want them to vote.
Look, I know our immigration system needs some updating. I'm friends with some immigrants. One of my friend's parents, I think, immigrated from here to Mexico, or from Mexico to here. Why they picked Mississippi, God bless them, I don't know. But they chose us, and me and her talk a lot. We're on opposite sides of the political spectrum, and she knows that. And she respects my opinion, and me and her talk, like adults. We don't yell at each other. And she told me a couple things, about our immigration system that I could sit back and we need it to be updated. But the key word for her and me that we both use, that we both understand, is legal immigration.
Yes.
Not illegal immigration.
I have no problem with legal immigration.
Yes, exactly. No one does. If you want to come to America and build a better life for yourself, work hard for your family, or work hard to start a family, or to do the great things this country provides to you, more power to you. Please come live the American dream with us. We're not hogging it for us.
I literally had a relationship with a Ukrainian. She lived in Fresno. This is while I was out in Las Vegas. And she had just finished school. She was a D1 swimmer, so that's why she came over here. And, after that, she came and worked at our company, and things just kind of took off, whatever, for a couple months before she went back to California and I went to Florida. So I have no problem with what country people come from as long as it's legal and you do it the right way. Now, I do think when people have to wait 5-10 years to get their visa approved, it shouldn't be that long.
No. There's ways we need to improve our system. I understand that. We're not saying leave it as it is, keep everybody out. We're saying keep out the people that are bringing in drugs, trafficking,
Have a felony.
have a felony, connections to organized crime, and show no
Cartel.
remorse for these actions, by the way. We do believe in second chances here, but, we can't allow illegal immigration. We need to have a strong stance on that, and we need to, once we get the focus off illegal immigration, we can then focus on making our immigration system better.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I know we all want that. That's the thing that blows my mind. The Democrats complain about it. The Republicans complain about it.
Mm-hmm.
But we're all focused on illegal immigration. Democrats just want anybody with 2 cents and a penny to come in.
Yeah.
And the Republicans are like, well, just let's fix the way. Let's do this the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Democrats just want an extra vote come election time. Really,
yeah,
they don't care about poor people.
I know we talked about election security last time. One thing I didn't bring up, it comes into this illegal immigration problem, is that both in Las Vegas and especially in California, probably the entire state of California, they're sending anywhere between 10 to 15 ballots. I'm sure YouTube will flag me for this again about the mail-in thing, but I don't really care because it's true. And they are sending 10 to 15 ballots without a name on there. It's not a registered voter that they're sending it to. They're sending it to every household, and they're allowing the vote. So, like when I was in Las Vegas, we got 6 sent to our house. And it's a bunch of interns. No one that is a registered voter in that state live there. And they're just sending 6 ballots. No names attached to them or anything. So there is a problem with that. Illegal immigrants could obviously be at that house. Even a ton of them, whatever. And they all can vote. And when you have 9+ million that have come through since Biden's been in office. I ran a campaign for a guy who used to be a special agent for ICE.
Mm-hmm.
Scott Moore, he's a great guy. And he told me whatever numbers that they're telling you, so 9 million, you can pretty safely bet that it's been at least twice that. So it could be 18 million come in the past 3 years.
That is just wow.
Coming from an ICE agent, not me.
Yeah. Real quick, for people who don't know, Graves got my deadgum channel tagged by YouTube. For those who don't know, the Conservative Colonel podcast runs on a couple of accounts. So we are live on Spreaker, which is the preferred choice, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Cast Box. I almost said Comcast. I don't know where that came from. Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podcast Chaser. But on Thursdays, I put a live video of us talking on YouTube. And this man somehow got us red flagged on YouTube. I didn't even know. They didn't even send me an email. He went back and rewatched the video and told me. I was like, well, dig nabbit. That's going to be a red flag. And yo and behold, my red flag from YouTube, my first one, the second one.
It was the Bipartisan Policy Center. It said, really, no, it didn't even reply to what I was saying. Because I didn't even I just said I want paper ballots. I didn't even talk about what I talked about here. And it was just like saying that every mail-in ballot is counted and checked for authorization, and sure, y'all can say that all you want.
Sure it is.
But I will tell you right now, YouTube, before you flag, you can talk to Scott Moore about it. He's an ICE agent, and that's my source.
There it is. Well, at least we have a couple weeks, so we won't piss off YouTube.
That's a good point.
What am I saying? That's why we all got into this.
Just
that's
speak the truth.
Yeah, that's a badge of honor, sadly, these days, is to get attacked by YouTube.
Honestly, it is. And I mean, Even when you can say you have sources.
Yeah, no, you didn't. They're lying. What do you think yours is doing? But that just blows my mind, and that's why everybody, I think, can understand why Republicans, and we talked about this one episode, how it's racist for Democrats to put on some of these people. Well, they don't know how to do this. They're just
Right.
covering the butt because they want more votes. They think if they'll bring these people, they're trying to bribe people into voting for them. It blows my mind. They know that their position is not good enough to get votes, so they bribe people.
Yeah.
What does that say about your party? Democrats higher up that definitely listen to the Conservative Colonel podcast. What?
The 8 years they've gone after Trump since he walked down that golden escalator. It's been nonstop.
I feel bad for him. I honestly do.
Yeah.
The amount of crap he has to deal with.
I know that he tries to play it off and everything. He does a good job at that. But when he's not at a rally, I can't imagine what's going through his head. Just like, I have to do this, but this sucks, and why won't they just leave me alone? I just really couldn't imagine being him.
Yeah, you've said it for what, since 2016?
He started running at the end of 2015, but they didn't really start bashing him until he was like, because, they said, well, Trump will never win the nomination. He's never going to be president.
And then some people in Hollywood even supported him, which is funny to me now. But, for about, coming close to 10 years. Yeah, what'd you say, 8? Yeah.
Yeah.
They have just attacked this man nonstop. I mean, I couldn't imagine. Most politicians, or at least presidential politicians, after 8 years, they're done.
Yeah.
He's got another.
Look at Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Obama was in the Senate for, I don't even think it was 2 terms. I think he spent 1 term. And then he ran for president and was there for 8 years and got out.
Yeah.
I think he's still pulling some strings.
Oh, yeah. We all know he is. But I mean, it's I feel bad for him because that's another reason that life, if you're doing it right, sadly, in today's world, it means you're getting attacked.
Yeah.
And I mean, that does take a toll on you. And I do feel bad for President Trump. I mean, and they're really hitting him hard right now.
Yeah.
They're attacking him in the courts right now. Beforehand, he could at least turn off the TV, turn off the phone when it gets overwhelming. Nope. Now he has court dates. Yeah. It's all because he broke the law.
Which is funny that the biggest case that they're talking about is the fraud case, where I think they're trying to get him on like 30 or 40 counts in that one. But it's funny that none of the banks in New York have ever complained about him not paying anything back, or for him over or lesser valuing any of his businesses or properties. So they're reaching at straws. I don't even know where they're trying to get this stuff from. It's probably just one person that said, I don't trust him. And then, but the banks have no problem. So I don't know where they're trying to go with it.
I don't know. To be honest, he's kind of been lucky that he hasn't had that one case that a judge will just force his will upon him. I mean, a judge does have that power in court cases. So we've been blessed, or Trump has been blessed, that nothing has really come back to bite him yet. But I mean, at some point, if they keep doing this and he can't just get them to stop, I am worried that one is going to stick. Because all you need is one judge to do it. And luckily, Trump hasn't. He's pissed off one judge. I know that.
Keeps giving him gag orders and stuff. Well, you're not allowed to talk. You're on trial for fraud, but you can't speak.
I remember one that just asked him and begged him really to stop posting on Truth Social, which nearly broke
his own platform.
Yeah, it nearly killed me. I laughed so hard at that for so long. I'm like, it's his. Not to mention the fact that just to hear a judge bring up social media in a courtroom really makes me laugh. I'm like, oh no.
Right.
And again, it goes back to one of my my few critiques with Trump is For the love of God, man, please stop posting on social media.
It's probably a good thing he's not on Twitter right now because, I read one of his tweets just 2 days ago, and I was kind of like, maybe you should stop name calling 6 people in one post. Like,
At least wait till you win this last term, my man. That's all I ask, really.
yeah,
I mean,
focus on your policy.
yeah, like focus on you, because if you're focusing on you, we'll back you up.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's I would say if the election, I got to be careful how I say this on YouTube. What went down in 2020?
Yeah.
I think people know what I'm trying to say here. I think a lot of the early back and forth was caused by. I'm not going to say I think he would have won if he didn't do this, because I think that fate was sealed.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say I think it hurt him a bit how much he was on social media some days on the campaign trail. But I don't think he was going to win from the start. Wink, wink. I know the people listening couldn't see that, but I think we all know what I'm trying to say. I just really don't feel like having to fight a strike on my channel over the Christmas break. At least let me get into the election season first before I earn a strike. But I think there's just so much we need to focus on as a party. And that's one thing I'm happy about Trump is Trump wants to crack down on the illegal immigration because it's rampant, like you said.
Yeah.
It's awful. And they're just sending them to southern states. They're like, oh, well, they don't care or they need us to flip. And so I'm happy that we're sending them back to. I remember what New York governor or New York City mayor that was like, stop sending illegal immigrants to us. And they were like, I thought you guys wanted them here.
Exactly. If you're a sanctuary city, you got to kind of deal with that because you already made that law yourself.
Yeah, you're the one that did it. Now it's time to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh, but it's been about an hour, folks. I would like to ask that y'all support the Conservative Colonel podcast on your podcaster of choice. Again, our main one we would like you to focus on is Spreaker. If you could support us there, that'd be nice. But we're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music / Audible, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, and Podchaser. Thursdays, we do post the podcast from Tuesday on YouTube. And, of course, you can find us on Facebook and YouTube as the Conservative Colonel Podcast. We will have an episode next week. It will be just the DeSantis and Newsom debate. And maybe if we have time, we'll dive into the presidential debate. If me and Graves have time to watch both these debates and research them,
right?
We'll try our best to present that for y'all because it should be watched and should be listened to. Debating is one of my favorite parts of political season because you get to actually hear policy. Mm-hmm. Now, sometimes you just join a shouting match, which can be entertaining. That's about it. But we'll try to bring that to you next week, and then I'll go on a break until the day before Graves leaves me during the busy season of politics. Again, I want to thank you for that. That's mighty nice of him. But we'll be back soon, guys. I want to thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Graves, for coming on and helping me out. It was a phenomenal show. And
I'm always going to be here when I can.
Well, I'll abuse that, so you better know that. All right. Well, thank you all for watching. And until next Tuesday, I guess I'll see y'all later. Y'all have a good day, and God bless.
God bless.